Kenneth Robert Joseph, called Kenny Joseph. I was born as a boat people in Chicago. My mother and father ran away from the bin Laden of that day and came to, they said, go north to Russia, take a left to London, go over a little lake, and in Chicago, your relatives are waiting for you. All the Assyrians knew they had relatives there, so go to Chicago. He had helped some ladies on the boat to get over to America, my dad. And the preacher in the Assyrian church in Chicago said, it's a bad place for a single lady. Martha, that's my mother's name, you pick out one of these men, Sam, Elia, or Shabi. Fat, drunk. Okay, Sam, if I have to, you have to. It was a ordered marriage. She wanted to be a missionary. She wanted to be single. So she wanted a boy. She got a boy, and he drowned in the Chicago River. I had 3 sisters, and I was the only boy after John drowned. 3 sisters. My earliest recollection was, I'm going to be a baseball player. So every special minute I had, I would be out there swinging my bat to become better than Joe DiMaggio, who was the greatest. And baseball was a big thing. I would put on my baseball uniform, and then like Superman, put on something else over it. Had to go and play that piano, and I can't read notes. But after the piano, I would run, take my clothes off and play baseball in high school. Then they picked the best of the seniors. You get to have a tryout with the greatest club in the world. They haven't won it since 100 years, but Chicago Cubs. Now, I had gotten in free of charge by selling peanuts, popcorn, hot dogs, and I'm watching all the games. It looked so easy, so here I am batting against the real Cubs. And that mound looked to be 8 feet tall. The right field fence about 2 miles away. And me, Jesus, I got a dime for every verse I memorized. Jesus, you said, delight thyself also in the Lord, and he will give thee the desires of your heart. Jesus, I want a home run. That's my desire. Strike 1. Jesus, you promised. Here we go, please. And that ball came by before I even saw it. Strike 2. Jesus, you're alive and well. Give me a home run. And in the name of Jesus, I hit a line drive to the catcher. And that was it. 3 jobs. He would go for a lunch at the Merchandise Mart, the biggest building in Chicago, or maybe in the world at the time. And then after that, he would go to the Hilton Hotel down the other way. And on the way, he would work at a real estate company. So he had 3 jobs to put his 4 children through college. And he never even got to high school. My mother wanted us to fit into the America. So she wouldn't even take us to the Assyrian church. She wouldn't take us to Assyrian weddings because there's too much dancing around and putting money into the girls, you know, here and there. And it was bad. You see, Syrians are all Christians, in quotes. But real born-again Christians, she took us to this Presbyterian church near us. Why? Yeah. Because fundamentalist Presbyterian missionaries came to Iraq. Southern Baptists, no. Presbyterians, Anglicans, and Seventh-day Adventists. So she became a Presbyterian. And she had friends whose name was Sanchiro, which means Sennacherib. Come on, Mom. So I got Kenny, and girls got Jean and Millie and Barbara. She wanted us to really fit in. My mother never sat down once to eat. She was always around, and we ate Assyrian food. You know, dolma? It's grape leaves wrapped around lamb and rice. And she would bake bread this big. in the oven. And that big, thin wafers, regular bread, and bread with butter inside. What was my mother's full-time job? Reading her Bible and praying for her prodigal son. I can take you to the room where she prayed, and there's 2 holes in the rug, and that's where she fit in there and prayed for 17 years. I was the only boy, and I had to be this and that, and I fought it until the Youth for Christ rally at Soldiers Field.
I was born in a place called near Schaefer, North Dakota, which now is not in existence. Actually, the railroad came into that area and bypassed that town and went to another town, Watford City. So Watford City became booming and Schaefer just died out. Well, my family, it was kind of interesting. My mother was born in Norway, and she came with her parents and I think her brother to America, and they landed in Nova Scotia and came down by train, and they had relatives in Iowa, so they settled in Iowa for a while. My grandfather was a professional carpenter, and I think they said he got $5 or $10 for the last house extra for the last house he built in Norway. And when I was there, I saw some of his work, I think, and then he came, and they settled in Iowa, but after a while they wanted to immigrate to North Dakota, where they could, live on the land and win it. And so he went out first to Willis, North Dakota, and then he settled in there and built their own place, and the family came and joined him then. And my mother was about 8 or 9 years old then by the time they went out there. Then my dad's family were born in Iowa. They came over too, but he was born in Iowa. And then he decided, his father was, they were Christian people, but I think the kids were kind of wanting to feel their freedom. And so they were a lot of fun. They were just a joking family and a lot of fun. And then my dad decided he was in his early 20s and wanted to go out to North Dakota also. And he went out there, and he said he stood on the platform at Willis, North Dakota, and said, should I go east or should I go west? And we've always felt that our family hinged on that decision, because he went west and nothing really happened, but he went east, and the Wesleyan Church moved in there and had revivals. And even though our family were Lutheran, they were greatly touched by the meetings that were going on.